Good morning. Welcome to the channel. I'm Underfunded Scientist, an indie game developer. I'm currently working on a project called Glow Home. This is devlog number 7. Let's get into it. So one of the first things that I added was cows, because I heard that UFOs and cows go together like space and aliens. And at first I was thinking about making them some realistic looking cows and having them animate like some dangling legs and some mooing sounds when you grabbed them with the tow cable. But I ended up deciding against it because I didn't want it to be seen as too graphic or violent, because as of right now it's pretty friendly for any ages. There's no blood or gore, and all the violence is fantasy violence. And so I ended up going with a solid gold cow that isn't alive in any way, and the markings on the cow are like jewels that glow, like gems in an asteroid, sort of. And like the asteroids, they change colors when you grab them so that you know which one you're attached to, and when you tow them to the home star, they get destroyed like asteroids do, but they have twice as much of the increase toward your total gold per second. Right now the gold per second is calculated by it starts out as one per second, and then every asteroid you bring to the home star, when it gets destroyed, it takes the current gold per second and it adds to that number the number of enemies, and then it makes that new total your new gold per second. The cows, when you bring them back to the home star, they do that same thing, but at the end of the math it just has a ×2, so it's worth twice as much. And so even the reward for towing the asteroids back home is procedural. I made a lot of other changes, and one of the main ones is I redid the particle effect for when the player levels up. Now instead of just being the one color, it's like a rainbow of colors that explode. I also added a Radial Force to when the player dies and when the player levels up, and it pushes the enemies away very quickly, and I think it looks a lot better. Trying to work on things, I somehow messed up the basic cannon projectile, and for a good minute there the X-axis on the inputs for firing was working, but the Y-axis wasn't. And I could not figure it out to save my life, so I ended up just deleting the projectile completely, copying the plasma projectile because it was still firing in the correct direction and worked pretty much the same, and I just like reverse engineered the plasma back into being what the cannon projectile was, and it's working fine again. I made the player faster, and I increased the camera lag. I tweaked all the numbers that have to do with how much the enemies get stronger every time the player levels up, and how much health the player gets every time he levels up. And overall it made the game a little bit more difficult, but I think with all the game mechanics currently, it's a lot more fun of an experience this way. I definitely recommend using an asteroid to knock enemies away from you, and not running in a straight line. You want to try to cut corners around the enemies because they have a higher top speed but a lower acceleration, so corners and curves you'll outrun them, but straight lines they'll outrun you. And then I think that really introduces a nice balance of, do you want to keep this asteroid and use it to smack the enemies around, or do you want to tow the asteroid to the home star for the increased gold per second? And so, or even if you get the asteroids and your mission is get straight to the home star, you have that asteroid to defend with on the way, and then after you drop it off, you're now a little bit more defenseless, so you're encouraged to go out and get another asteroid. And as far as the cows spawning goes, it used to be random, but it was so buggy, I ended up scrapping that idea, and I made it where there was at first a 20% chance for them to spawn every time you killed an enemy, and I increased that to 30% chance. So now they're rare, but you're guaranteed to see a few of them even in just a couple minutes of gameplay. In some of the next updates, I'm going to be adding upgrades for the player, like how fast the player is, an upgrade or a purchasable that will refill the player's health rather than having to wait for the to die to get the health refilled or to level up. and then also an upgrade to increase the max health. I'm also going to be reworking the level up screen. I want it to eventually, it's going to have all of the upgrades that are available, but it will have a different look, and I'm going to make a sort of like old school default name generator where it's going to have a list of words that it's going to choose some from to randomly assign that specific upgrade what it is. And it'll, like for example, we'll still have the cannon projectile, and it will have all the upgrades it has right now. Like it'll have cannon damage and rate of fire and number of projectiles, but it'll say, like, when you look at the cannon damage, it'll have chosen 3 words from the directory or whatever, like plasma conduit barrel, and so that you know that that upgrade is unique to the next upgrade. And then once you purchase it, it'll still display the change and the prices, but it'll also generate 3 new words for that next upgrade. Like it'll become, you know, massive conduit charger or something, you know, just arbitrary names, but to let you know that it is a change. Thank you so much for making it this far into the video. If you haven't already, please take the time to like and subscribe. Comment down below and let me know what you think so far. The game is available with a name your price function on itch.io. If you think it's hot garbage, you can make it zeros the whole way and get it for free. If you want to help support me and the channel, you can make the price whatever you think I deserve. It's available on Android and PC. I update the game weekly. If you're interested, on Discord, we're starting to build an amazing community of content creators, game developers, and just viewers. We also have official merchandise now. I'll have the links to that down below, and I would truly appreciate any support. I'm really enjoying all the different designs, and we've already had some really successful sales and feedback. All of the items are really high quality, but I've been sure to include both the top quality items and the cheapest ones that are available, and I've kept all the prices to where the profits that I receive are around $2 on every item, so it's not much. They suggest that I have the prices much higher. It starts out as a default where my profits are like $15 on every item. It's pretty insane. You know, for me, it's more about somebody being able to have something physical that I've made rather than trying to make a bunch of money on an individual sale of like a t-shirt or a sticker. But that little bit of support does mean a lot. And I'm also going to start doing this thing where if you do pay for Glow Home, you know, more than just getting it for free, that there will be tiers of rewards that you get from the merchandise. Like, just, I haven't worked out the numbers exactly, but just for example, you know, if you buy Glow Home for $2 or $3, then I'll mail you a sticker or 2 from the merchandise, you know, and if you buy it for like $7, then I'll mail you, you know, like the cup, or you know, if you bought it for $10, then maybe a t-shirt,